Good morning. It is very bright this morning, but thankfully nice and cool. Fall has arrived. And so I'm in a good mood today. And I wanted to talk to you guys today about something that's important, something that makes me feel good, and that's networking and building community, building family even, if you would like to call it that. And before I get started, I need to make sure that I'm not going to be completely blotted out by the sun behind my head. At least it looks okay for now on the phone here, so hopefully it'll be all right. Anyway, I think a lot about individualism versus collectivism. It comes up a lot with people in our spheres that talk about American values versus nationalist values versus values that came even before that, more traditional values, things that came even before the French Revolution, things that are based in older traditional values. And there's something to be learned about all of this, something simple. It's that people are not individuals. We have always been groups, collectives, tribes, etc. Now, of course, I know the difference between that and collective isms, but I don't want to talk about isms today. I want to talk about the necessity of building things with other people and knowing that you're part of a bigger organism than just you or a couple of people. I think that the main reason I have always internally rejected the idea of bunker prepping type stuff, where you just want to go off the grid and all you care about is you and your family or just yourself, and you create a bunker and you just want to survive or whatever. The reason I've always internally rejected that is because I only see that as a complete and total waste of an otherwise productive person's time and energy. Because creating a bunker is just spending your whole life preparing yourself your own tomb. And you could have spent that time networking with others, building community, building a better family, building a better self. And in the pursuit of doing something bigger than just you, doing something more meaningful than survival. I think if your focus is only survival, you've already lost the game. Because you've already given over all chance of any kind of social victory or anything of bigger meaning to your life. The people that built Western civilization, they didn't just care about survival. They didn't just care about, I have to make sure I live through the winter. That's some really old caveman shit. The people who built everything that matters, they cared about a lot bigger things than just surviving. They cared about building something worthy of being written about in history books, worthy of their children and their grandchildren's adoration and praise, glorifying God, glorifying the brilliant men and women of our civilization, lifting up people that were in their circle, that were in their community, that were even in their entire country. This is what the great people of history cared about, the people that made our country. That's what they cared about. And so, anyway, I got a little sidetracked there, but the reason I wanted to talk about this today is when it comes to the things that we have to care about today. We have to care about the lies of the narrative. We have to care about trying to prepare for the shift, the waves of civilization as evil people have taken over almost everything. I don't think they're going to win in the end. I don't think that. I still think we're going to win. But we have to realize the only thing that is going to be real for us, for our children, our grandchildren, etc., are the things that we start building now, like our ancestors built. You look at schools, well, that institution's corrupt. You look at the media, well, we all know that institution's very corrupt. You look at the government, do I even need to say anything? You look at all of the local governments. Most of these local governments, they're not full of good people either. They're full of lazy, I don't want to say evil here, but passively evil, lazy people that are just jobbing it out day to day. I don't really think most of the people, even in local governments, care very much. Why would they? The entire system encourages them not to care. So, what does that mean for us? We have to build. That's why I put new banners on my channel this year that says, to recapture our destiny, we must build community. We have to network with like-minded people. We have to make sure that we are building something where there is nothing right now. Whether that's just a family, Whether it's a small school, maybe a community project that's also like a school. Maybe you're going to start a business where there isn't one. Maybe you're going to rekindle a business that used to be in your rural area. Or maybe you live in a big cancerous city and you're going to try to fix it. I think that might be a fool's errand, but if that calls to you, then you do that. But the thing that we have to remember is being selfish, only caring about survival, does not civilization make. It doesn't. So if you care about Western values, Christian values, the white race, the American ethnicity, the Anglo ethnicity, the Anglo ethnic cluster, if you care about any of that stuff that we all talk about, you have to realize the only way to preserve any of that, the only way to help any of those things survive, is to build and engage and create culture. If you're only focused on material survival, then you're not going to do anything. You're not going to contribute to culture. You're not going to contribute to a country. You're not going to contribute to a community, a nation, a state, a religion. If all you do is focus on survival and severing yourself from civilization, from society, etc., it's not going to work. And so the reason I bring this up is I was talking to my cousin yesterday, and a couple of guys that we know, they've just completely cut themselves off, and one of them's making a bunker, one of them built a cabin out in the woods years ago, and they were talking about how successful and cool that is. And I spoke my piece quietly and without making a big deal about it, because I don't really know these guys very well. But it made me think, what if those men spent that time and money doing something else? Building a new business, building a new church, building a new local community school, and encouraging people to come there and teach things that were good instead of things that were lies. What if they did that instead? And so I wanted to make this video today to encourage you guys to never give up. Because remember, even in the darkest of times, even if it was back in the, whatever it was, 14 or 1500s with the Black Plague, even if it was during the Crusades before then, or fast forward until more modern history, during World War I, World War II, the Korean War, all of these horrible wars that the Empire of Lies has led us to, people still had lives. They still went to school, went to church, made artwork, celebrated with one another. Even when the bombs dropped on Dresden, the Germans were still the Germans, and they had spirit. I don't think that it's that bad here yet. But I do think that no matter what, we can't give up being people. We can't give up being a civilization. Because when we give up that, well, then the enemy's already won, and it doesn't matter if we physically survive. Then what are we surviving into? I don't want to live as a slave race or a slave ethnicity to some evil, tyrannical cluster of people that once they take over everything and our civilization's totally gone, we're just at their mercy. Or live in a hole for, I don't know, 100 years with a bunch of other little tribal Appalachians that have to subsistence live. To me, that's not victory. To me, that's just prolonging death. That's like saying, oh, well, your grandfather's dead, but we can leave him on life support for the next 6 years and just let him wither in bed, or we can let him die right now. To me, it's that kind of thing. Like, I think that's gross and I don't like it. I think that for us to give up means that our enemies already win. So don't give up. You have to stay white-pilled, you have to be positive, and you have to take a realistic view of what you can do. None of us are superheroes. None of us can change the world, so don't focus on changing the world. You can't. I can't. What we can do is change what's around us little bit by little bit. And by doing that, we can encourage other people to not give up, to speak the truth, and to build something positive. And the more of us that do that, the more of a fighting chance that we have to not just survive, but to have a life that is worth living, to have a civilization that is worth preserving. And I think that's an important message, and I wanted to get that out since that was heavily on my mind yesterday. Anyway, we have now returned to Sleepy Hollow. You can just barely see the sun poking through the trees here. And that means I'm almost home. So, I love you guys. It is early Monday morning. We will very, very likely have a Discordant Dragons tonight. And I have 2 guests already, so unless something comes up, we'll definitely have a stream tonight. So, tell your friends, invite your friends, and come have a lot of laughs with me tonight on Discord at Dragons. Keep heart and speak the truth to all who have the ears to hear it. God bless.